Welcome back to the Revenue Recipe. On behalf of Sellerant and Proclaim, I'm Ben Wiggins. As a reminder, please click the link in the show notes or the description, the one below my face, to download the 11 Steps to Clarity on Core Brand Message. And I'm here with Kenan Rappuchi. As always, Kenan, always good to see you, my friend.
Great to see you, Ben. Let's rock and roll this thing.
Let's rock and roll. Today's growth pillar is skills, and we're going to be talking about core brand message. Now, my very first question is, core brand message feels to me like strategy. So why is it skills rather than strategy?
Yeah, that's the right question. So when you look at strategy, that's high-level plans that are supporting SMART goals. SMART goals are revenue goals, growth goals, et cetera.
Yeah.
Strategies are the high-level plans to create executables to deliver on those strategies to meet those goals. So in a previous episode, we talked about strategy relative to your target market, your target audience, and your buyer profile. Those are strategic elements.
Yes.
That are enablers for you to develop tactics to execute, to engage them and deliver an offer to them when there's alignment.
Yes.
So when we talk about a core brand message, what we're talking about is a foundation. It's a foundational element to deliver your message to that target market. So the question becomes, well, okay, how is it delivered? The answer is it's delivered through content, campaigns, websites, LinkedIn profiles, printed, paid, earned media, events, printed materials, demo slides, demo decks, presentations, literally anything and everything. Contextually, whether it's digital, text, organic, through conversation, the core brand message is the foundation of everything you say and who you are and how you describe it.
So then what is it? Like, let's get into the details of what it is.
Yeah, so a core brand message, and again, there's a lot of different ways to solve this problem. When we talk about the 11 steps to clarity, it's a clear, concise, brief summary of what you can engage an audience with when you talk about who you are, who you serve,
What you do.
and it's something that you can have as a conversation over a cocktail, in line, waiting to board an aircraft. Okay.
Yes.
Now, don't confuse that with an elevator pitch. Okay. A core brand message is just a set of key data that can describe how you interact with those you serve and how you do it. Right.
Okay. Why do so many startups and small businesses struggle with creating an effective core brand message?
One word, it's hard. Okay. And the reason it's hard.
Glad you joined us today. Thanks for being here on the Revenue Recipe.
It's all done. Okay. So why is it hard? Well, it's hard because for founders specifically in small businesses, their primary pressure, well, for everyone, it's revenue, but they're not as evolved as their larger competition that's been in market and has a lot of budgets and resources and teams and talent and tech to count on to do this at scale, which ironically, we run into this a lot with bigger companies. Their different departments aren't working well together either. So there might be a different message in one than there is in another. Yeah. Not to go down a rabbit hole. We're talking here about startups and scale ups. So they struggle with it because they're conditioned to pitch. So they're conditioned to want to share about the benefits and features of their solution and try to align that. What they often miss on with a core brand message is they sort of bifurcate the benefits and the value with the clarity and the brevity. So they'll over pontificate when they build a core brand message. So we've broken it down into 11 simple steps, 11 simple questions.
Okay.
What kind of business are you? What's your business category?
Yes.
Who do you serve? What problem they have? Why they have it? How it leaves them feeling? How you solve it? What's your process? What are your credentials? What makes you special and different? What is your mission and why? And what exists after working with you that didn't exist before they did?
Viewers and listeners, you can get that whole list at the link in the description right below my face.
So here's where the magic comes in, right? So you have to craft that with brevity and clarity and consistency. So when we run down this exercise with founders, especially earlier stage, they tend to want to just take the slides from their pitch deck and copy and paste those answers into the most closely related 11 steps.
Yes.
Okay? And so what they essentially think they're doing is, well, I have all this already.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you have all this already and it's in an investor deck for you, how come it's not working? How come you're not getting investment? How come you're not getting engagement? Okay. And if you have all this already and you're creating content, you're doing the right things, you're creating content, you're sending out well-aligned emails, you know your target audience, you're aligning with them and what they're thinking about, worried about, spending most of their time on right now. You got all these key pieces nailed, but your marketing and sales assets, the resources and playbooks and tools that you use to attract, engage, qualify, present, propose, close, and win.
Yes.
The most amount of best fit new customers with the least amount of time, effort, and cost. If you're not doing that, where's the disconnect? The disconnect is you don't have your core brand message nailed.
Okay. What's the most common portion of those 11 steps? What's the most common step to get wrong or to misstep on, no pun intended?
You'll have to look at this exercise holistically. It's a building block approach. It's a little bit different for everyone, but generally it's where you start.
Okay.
So what kind of business are you? So, for example, let's talk about a LiDAR-powered drone business who builds drones here in the good old US of A, and they're amazingly powerful drones that are powered by LiDAR to be able to do topographical surveys in a fraction of the time and cost of a surveying crew. Okay?
Right.
What kind of company do you think that is? So let's say this again. This is very important. We're at the start. What's your business category?
Right.
Okay. So they manufacture drones.
Yeah. So
that are LiDAR equipped.
Yeah. Tempting to just say tech company.
Okay. But you ask somebody that question, what kind of company are you? Are you a drone company?
Let's say I said yes.
Okay. All right. So drones. Okay. So if we just met, we're at intermission on a great Broadway show, we're grabbing a B&B or a Macallan 15 at the bar in intermission. Hey, Ben, I'm Kenan.
Be still my heart.
Kenan, I'm Ben. Nice to meet you. So what do? I own this business called XYZ. Well, what kind of company is that?
It's a drone company.
It's a drone company. What am I thinking right out of the gate?
You do aerial photography.
Okay. Well, maybe aerial photography, maybe reconnaissance.
Oh, true.
Maybe delivery.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. You follow my point on this?
Yeah.
Okay. So when we talk about what kind of company are you, you want it to be clear and simple, but you also want it to be enough to get somebody to understand what kind of company you are and whether or not it's relevant to them.
So the idea that the value prop can't be misunderstood.
Correct.
Yeah. Because everybody puts it in their own, whatever you say, everybody puts that in their own frame of reference. So you have to state it in such a way that it can apply across the broadest possible set of frames of reference.
Correct.
Am I hearing that right?
Yeah, you're hearing it right. Ultimately, what you want to do is put it in context where it's simple and brief. So yes, we're a drone company, but the way to put that in perspective is we're an aerial photography powered drone company, and we serve mid-market surveys in the 3-state region in Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, who do topographical surveys up to around 50 acres. And so what is the problem that they have? The problem they have is that their workforce is turning and they can't replace them fast enough, and their capacity to scale has been compromised. And they have that problem because they don't have the people and they don't have the tech to be able to execute on the jobs that are available to them. So it flows from there. So you can literally put this 11 steps to clarity to any business. Now, the majority of B2B startups these days are somewhere in the neighborhood of AI. A lot of them are SaaS-based models, which is sort of saturated right now, but
crowded space.
It is, but when someone's a SaaS company, you're a business software company.
Yeah.
Okay, but there are very specific niches of a software company that you can clarify with 11 steps. Okay?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So ultimately, going through that exercise is the struggle where most founders kind of look at this and go, how is this different than what I already have?
Right.
What's different about it is it's a foundation that everyone in your company will use with the same sort of framework to have a conversation with anyone you might meet on the street that has a very solid chance to totally understand when you describe what you do, what exactly it is.
Yeah.
So it's demystifying a lot of that.
Okay. So now, all right, we've got it. Let's say we've done it right. Now, what the hell do I do with it?
So now let's look at our toolkit. Let's look at our go-to-market toolkit. We've got our strategy with regard to our market, our model, our message, our offer, our profile, our AI, our CRM. We've got all of our pieces now. So,
and I'm the founder, not the marketer.
Absolutely, you're the founder.
Right.
So, as a founder, that is your guiding playbook for every conversation you ever have with anyone about your business. This is your guiding playbook for every conversation you ever have with anyone about your business. Now, what kind of conversations might a founder have?
Casual one, like the McAllen 15.
Yeah.
Like we're just having a drink after dinner, after a conference, whatever. We're talking about life, we're talking about family, and we talk a little bit about our business.
What do you guys do, man?
Yeah.
And just have the conversation. So in that context, it's probably not a sales thing. So,
No.
You're not going to use it as a sales thing. You're not pitching anybody.
Right.
Okay. What you're using it is to have a conversation. Because more often than not, you'll find, and this is not surprising, but you have to kind of recognize it. Hey, you know what? I was just talking to a neighbor of mine. I'm serving on this property owners association. He was just telling me something about this the other day. You mind if I connect you guys? The power of networking.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
No, I don't mind.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the foundation. It is your primary foundation, your primary playbook item that guides every conversation you'll ever have with anyone about your business.
So we're kind of backing into that particular answer. Like this is a scenario when you could use it. Where are the places where you're then looking to proactively use it?
Okay, so it's most effective in the context of engaging your audience.
Yes.
So we talked before about, situational awareness, what they're thinking about, worried about spending most of their time right now.
I know.
So in order for us, because again, they're not knocking on our door, here's my wallet. Oh my God, I heard about you guys. Here's all my money. Please take it and let me have what you got.
Yeah.
Right? They're not doing that. Okay. So we have to reach out to them. So by having that 11 steps to clarity, the way that you put that into practice as a marketer is you create message hooks, okay, specific around the problem that they have. First of all, your audience in the channels they're active, okay, which you already know from your profile, okay? You already know where they're active online or in person. So you know where and how to reach them, where to be visible, okay?
Yeah.
And you know who they are. And you know what problem they have. And you know why they have it. And you know how it leaves them feeling. So then you can present your solution with that context. So in Sellerant's world, we serve a market that's historically not attractive to large agencies or large consulting firms for the sole reason that startups have a high failure rate. Yeah, they don't have a lot of money. Okay?
Yes.
Really high risk.
Yeah.
But our business model is designed to give them the best chance to do what they can do in the shortest time possible and burn the least cash if they do end up having to pivot or fail.
Yeah.
Okay? So we know our market has specific sets of problems that a larger market may not have, like budget constraints, resource constraints, et cetera.
Yeah.
So when we create our message in every channel that we share it, it's only speaking to our customers who are ideal in our market, because we're nailing specifically who they are, what problem they have, why they have it, how it leaves them feeling, how they solve it, how we solve it. So the practical use of it is in every channel and every conversation that you have. So when we talk about a founder, you can use that to pitch investors. When we're talking about a marketer, You can use that for campaigns, for content, for webinars, literally anything and everything. Website content, LinkedIn page content, calls to action, everything.
Yeah.
Has to have a direct telegraph from that core brand message. That brings up a thought. We should get Marty Katz into one of these sessions down the road. Yeah. So Marty,
I hope he wears that nice scarlet sweater he has.
Love that dude, man. He is the architect, the master, the brain child. Marty, I love you. Of the 11 steps to clarity. He delivers this as a partner to Sellerant to startups and scale-ups, all within our ecosystem.
And he came out of Ogilvy and May.
He did. He sure did.
Puffing on the cigars.
He sure did. He's in Manhattan. Great guy. I mean, this guy is incredible. And he always talks about the first rule of marketing. First rule of marketing, it's not about you, right?
Right.
So the core brand message is a way for you to talk about who you are, okay, and why you're special and different. Yeah. Because let's face it, once you've hit the nail on the head with the problem your audience has, and you know how you solve it, then you have an opportunity to talk about yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Once you have their attention.
Yes.
Okay. So the core brand message is used as the platform to do that. So the rule of thumb, especially as a marketer, is start from the foundation of the core brand message and then build up with specific details that can dive deeper with more. Core brand message, the 11 steps, is about less is more. Brevity.
Okay.
Clarity, simplicity, foundation.
Love that. For our listeners, go get those 11 steps. Link in the description of the show notes. You'll be glad you did. It's free. In implementation, give us some do's and don'ts. What are the must-dos? What are the must-not-dos?
So let's talk about the do's and don'ts when you're crafting it first.
Okay. Yeah.
And then implementation is actually critically important. So I'm glad you asked. So when you're crafting your core brand message, start with more, get it to less. So think of a funnel. So start abstract. I know Brian Talbot, our chief strategy officer, he's an expert in whiteboarding. So I use that analogy, do a Talbot, do a BT with the starting point. So get that high level whiteboard and then start narrowing it down. So on each of the 11 steps, start with a lot and narrow it down and iterate. Okay. And so do that for each of the 11. So this kind of exercise in terms of the critical thinking and the application of that thinking onto an answer to one of 11 questions, to be clear and brief, is hard AF. Okay. It's hard.
No.
Okay. And you can go for about maybe 50 minutes and you're done. You're mentally exhausted.
Yeah.
So if you can't get through, then come back to it 2 days later.
Yeah. Every freaking time I talked to Marty, I felt like I'd just gone 12 rounds of Floyd Mayweather.
Hurts, man, because it's not easy. Okay.
No, it's not easy.
But a master facilitator like a Marty Katz, he makes it easy, or he gets us the end result. And at the end we go, that was like, okay, yeah, I got it now. Right. That's what you're after, is that aha moment, right? Yeah. Start high, do a Talbot, do a BT whiteboard, bring it down. Don't spend any more than 50 minutes. Okay. That's the crafting of it, right? Yep. At some point you'll land where you want to be. Pivlo, one of Sellerant's clients, awesome company, two brothers, Carl and Nigel Coelho. This is a badass piece of software they built. It's specifically for a problem on prevailing wage and apprenticeship compliance for construction projects that are eligible for tax credits, okay, because of the IRA. And so it's a very niche space. They started with Marty on their and they went through this first. So we just went through the update of their 11 steps to clarity on the product they brought to market 4 months ago.
Okay.
And they nailed it. And so they learned through this iterative process, and they probably spent a total of, with Marty and with our sessions recently, 9 hours, okay, to really pull this together. And they nailed it. Okay. So start with a BT, start with a lot of information, narrow it down, iterate, go 50 minutes at a time. And when you craft it, that's the to-do. That's the main to-do. Okay. Land on brevity. Less is more when you're done. Okay. Now, that's the crafting of it. Now, the implementation. This is where the rubber hits the road.
Yes.
So You're going to have to do some painful execution tactics and processes, not the least of which is looking at your website and going, now, present company
What's
included.
that like? I've never experienced
ours
that.
needs so much work, but we don't use ours to market. But we got to start drinking our own Kool-Aid, and we will. But the point is, you're going to have to go through every asset that you have, every asset that you've ever created
Mm-hmm.
that has any context, text, imagery, whatever
Mm-hmm.
that you've ever built to try to sell or market or engage an audience or pitch an investor
Mm-hmm.
and overhaul it. So in early stage startups, the term is growth hacking. You just keep trying to see what works, right? So while you keep trying to see what works, you've got all these different versions and you're doing so much hacking that you really don't have a clear understanding of how it's resonating with your target audience, okay? So that's the downside of growth hacking. Quite frankly, it's not really necessary anymore. Take a strategic approach, build the right assets, then execute them quickly.
Right.
So when you implement, the marketer needs to take that core brand message and identify the key points that they can build into engaging content to increase demand, brand awareness. So a marketer's job is to create awareness around the brand.
Fair enough.
And the toolkit to do that is your core brand message, your customer profile, and your offer. Okay. So for a seller, the seller uses this information when they have a discovery call or that first call. So I saw this, you guys had this, I saw this event you guys were at, and this sounds interesting. Tell me more. Well, we're a business growth services company. Yeah, I kind of got that, but do you do marketing? Yeah. Do you do sales? Yeah. What we really do is grow businesses, and we grow businesses for founders and small business leaders who are struggling to gain traction because they haven't defined the right strategies and they're not executing the right activities to get the results they want. Shit, that's me. Do it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you probably have that, and it probably leaves you feeling frustrated and probably a little bit concerned about how long your runway is going to last and how you're going to overcome this in a sea of competition. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. So you have this playbook right at your resource, right. Cut. Literally, you have this resource at the ready as the foundation of every conversation you're having. So what's going to happen is not only will your audience understand it quickly, they'll be able to figure out if they want to do something about it. Because if they don't, there's no reason to continue the conversation.
Right.
We're not ready.
Right.
Okay.
To our viewers, you know what I'm going to say. Download the 11 steps. It's a free asset. It's free to you, no catch. 11 steps to clarity. To clarity on the Sellerant website. Link in the description. Thanks for tuning in. Kenan, appreciate the insights as always.
Hey, anytime. I enjoy talking about this, and we're here to help founders succeed.
On behalf of Sellerant and Proclaim, I'm Ben Wiggins. Thanks for joining us on The Revenue Recipe. We will see you on the next one.